Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back with another video from 6, and today we're checking out Tobirama versus Sasuke. Now, I feel like this is going to go pretty much the same way as Naruto versus Hashirama, whereas Hashirama wins all the way pretty much to somewhere, well, the end of the war arc, where Naruto gets his big sage boost. I feel like it's going to be the same with Sasuke with Tobirama, up to a point where he gets his Rinnegan ability from Sage. Maybe just before then, but I'm not the power scaler here. Let's see what 6 has to say on this whole Tobirama versus Sasuke, the real winner.
In Uchiha versus the number 2 Uchiha hater.
Yeah.
Yeah. This battle was extremely close to happening during chapter 620 of the manga and episode 366 of the show.
Oh yeah, it did, didn't it? Oh.
Wherein Tobirama, after hearing Sasuke would destroy the village, begins to flare up his chakra in what I would consider a classic scene by just
absolutely brilliant.
His finger. Of the first 4 Hokage, I think Tobirama gets the least recognition in the community.
Very true.
Not because he's bad or anything, but his importance to the story is mentioned very subtly, whereas with
like the way he died is just like very off-screen kind of thing.
And we're constantly told about how special and powerful he is. With his one-of-a-kind wit style, through multiple credible sources like Orochimaru, Yamato...
Yeah, everyone talks about them.
Then you have Hiruzen, who is the Hokage we're introduced to at the beginning of the series, sort of sets the standards for what a Hokage should be. I mean, even in his first fight since his introduction,
it's incredible.
He sacrifices himself for the better of the village.
Yeah.
And then Minato, who has an iconic fight, paired with a sacrificial end in being the main character's father. Tobirama, prior to the war, kind of just gets some here and there statements we don't really know much about.
Yeah.
So today, I hope to give Tobirama some of the recognition he deserves, and Sasuke as well. I think a lot of people generally have a very high perception of Sasuke and his capabilities.
Well, yeah, because he's like one of the main characters.
The points that will be mentioned later on in the video, I think he gets overshadowed just a little bit by other characters. This video will feature each combatant in 2 different forms, which, as I said, will be mentioned a bit later into the video. But I'm done rambling now. I know the intro was fairly long, but it seemed necessary.
Right, yes.
If you like Naruto versus battles, be sure to leave a like on the video.
Subscribe to 6, man. He's all over these videos. Absolutely sick.
On my channel, you can watch after this one, but let's start. To start off with establishing the forms of the characters, Tobirama's are just going to be his alive and Edo forms. However, to establish Sasuke's forms, I think it's important to note Sasuke's power growth once he started using the Mangekyo Sharingan.
Okay.
Sasuke, after developing the Mangekyo, had become consumed with hatred way more than usual.
I'm liking the style the video's doing, like old D film around.
Pointing out how his chakra was different in the early stages of the summit ambush. When Obito talks to Naruto during this very same ambush, he informs Naruto on the story of the Senju and Uchiha alongside Sasuke's motivations. In chapter 462, Obito says that hatred is Sasuke's strongest weapon, friend, true source of power, and his shinobi way. This is very important as it helps show that Sasuke's gaining of hatred throughout the series
makes him stronger,
correlated with a direct power increase. Although this is made very apparent during the summit when we see Sasuke getting new forms.
Oh yeah, he's just raging all over the place there.
Just to be glossed over by some of the war. Sasuke, after gaining a huge power surge with the EMS, encountered his revived brother not too long after. After the Kabuto fight and Itachi giving Sasuke motivational words and memories, Sasuke claims that his hatred for Konoha has grown even stronger.
Ooh, power increase.
He seeks out the Hokage to discover the truth and ends up with a more revolutionary philosophy that we don't get to see until up after the Kage battle. The growth of hatred, resolve, and also battle experience would explain how Sasuke is able to later match the likes of Casey and Naruto, even after Naruto had showed better chakra control than Minato and Kushina, alongside having Kurama's full cooperation. Later on, we even see Sasuke use abilities like Inferno-style Susanoo Arrow, which is able to perfectly match KCM Naruto's Super Odama Rasengan,
which is crazy,
and a full-bodied humanoid Susanoo, both abilities which are absent in the Kabuto fight. We see Sasuke's growth hit its peak before he encounters Hagoromo in the fight against Jubito, when he's able to make a perfect Susanoo, fight alongside Kurama Sage Mode Naruto,
which is such a sick form that they like create together.
Without any assistance from Jugo or Naruto's chakra. Now that all that has been established, the forms of Sasuke being used will be his peaks during the Samurai Bridges battle,
right? So against Danzo,
and the Jubito versus Allied Shinobi forces.
Okay, right. Feats.
And Tobirama both have quite unique power sets compared to their peers in the Shinobi world. To go over a lot of Tobirama's abilities first, they're pretty simple. His intellect is something that can't be ignored, as he has shown some of the highest feats in this regard has created ninjutsu such as the Edo Tensei, Flying Raijin, and Shadow Clone Jutsu. He shows knowledge on Mount Miyaboku in Sage Mode, but this is likely due to his elder brother being a Sage Mode user. It's also been noted by Madara that it's Tobirama's MO to strike an opponent when they perceive that they have already won the battle, implying that to an extent he's a crafty fighter.
Yeah,
So
sneaky.
Kage level water ninjutsu, even in his weakened Edo state in part 1, while only using one hand seal for each, showing high levels of chakra control as well. We see more uses of water ninjutsu in the war arc with his ability to shoot water needles and
Which is
sever
damn so cool. Like
Tobirama helps create the 4 Crimson Ray Formation Barrier Ninjutsu in Chapter 631, which is stated to require 4 Hokage-class shinobi to create, and to be dozens of times stronger than the 4 Purple Flames Formation that contained the battle between Hiruzen and Orochimaru. Considering Tobirama is putting in 1/4 of the work of this jutsu, that's dozens of times above the Sound 4s, it's likely he has the capability of creating barriers 6 times above that one that contained the battle between 2 Sannin level shinobi. Maintaining this barrier, Tobirama creates 2 Shadow Clones, which he says is an embarrassment and is likely nerfed due to having to help maintain the barrier.
yeah, because he's holding the barrier. Yeah, damn. He's like, oh, I'm so much better than this. I swear, I'm not always this short.
Raijin, he's able to simultaneously teleport Minato and Naruto using their Kurama avatars at the same time. Tobirama's usage of the Edo Tensei Jutsu hasn't been shown to be something he can do on a whim without any preparation, and later uses of it by users such as Kabuto and Orochimaru have been confirmed or implied to be much superior than his. We also don't know who he did revive using the jutsu, so either way it won't be considered in this battle. One of Tobirama's most powerful, if not the most powerful jutsu that he has in his arsenal is the Tandem Explosive Tags. Introduced in Chapter 639, it's referred to as his jutsu that he used in conjunction with his Edo summonings in the past to clear out battlefields. Tobirama claims this is the first time he's ever used the jutsu himself, and the 4th data book corroborates this. The description reads, tags that summon more tags that then explode, a special explosion tag. The second Hokage developed this for the purpose of combining it with Impure World Reincarnation. Upon activation, due to the devastating explosion, it is highly probable that the jutsu caster will be caught in it. If a live person performs the technique, death is inevitable. Or it is a
right, okay, so it's designed for an Edo state to use so they can regenerate and keep exploding.
For Edo Tobirama and not live Tobirama, alongside any of his Edo Tensei stamina and immortality abilities. The last ability to cover for Tobirama is the Bringer of Darkness. The Bringer of Darkness is a mid to long range A-rank ninjutsu that puts a veil of darkness over the opponent, blinding the opponent and leaving them vulnerable to attacks. Although Tobirama's usage is anime only in episode 72, and Hashirama uses it in the manga,
so it does exist.
User in the 2nd data book. However, the 4th data book lists Hashirama as a user of the 5 basic nature transformation and Yang, while Tobirama is listed as a user of the 5 basic natures plus Yin and Yang. This would be very weird as Hashirama has literally used a Yin released jutsu in front of our very own eyes. You can say that Kishimoto either forgot to give Hashirama Yin and wanted him to be a Yang user for the sake of some narrative. Regardless, it wouldn't be too far-fetched to say Tobirama has the jutsu, as it was probably developed to counter the Sharingan during the Warring States period. To now go over Sasuke's abilities, I'm just going to go through a quick synopsis of his abilities before the summit. It goes without saying that Sasuke has been shown to be proficient in fire and lightning style ninjutsu.
Well, yeah, we've got that down, yeah, definitely.
Jutsu, Shuriken Jutsu, and of course his Sharingan. The Sharingan is one of the 3 great dojutsu that gives the user enhanced perception, genjutsu, and the ability to copy jutsu. Sasuke's Sharingan is especially gifted, as even Orochimaru said, that Sasuke can see and conceal things with his Sharingan that even Itachi could never dream of. It shows the capability of X-ray vision and seeing chakra in color in his fight with Deidara. In terms of genjutsu, he has shown the ability to enter the subconscious.
Oh god, yeah, he does that dead early on in Shippuden, doesn't he, where he just like goes inside Naruto's mind, like, Kuramana.
His intelligence has always been one of
The last time I've seen anyone do that was Madara Uchiha.
Sasuke is even given a section in the 3rd data book on his tactical ability that really describes how great he truly is. He has the keen ability to observe and analyze his opponent's power while remaining calm. He carefully crafts the path to victory and will use anything from his wide arsenal of skills and ninjutsu to win a battle, and would even hurt himself to give himself a win, placing him in a special class of shinobi. feats such as setting up the Kirin in the middle of his battle with Itachi, cooperating his strategy with
Oh yeah, he's very
Kakashi
strategic.
from Zabuza without any form of verbal or visual communication, and setting up a plan with Suigetsu by using Manda to survive C-Zero. Sasuke has been complimented on his intelligence by even Minato.
Yeah, he did that dead quick as well, just like out of nowhere, bam, explosion, and he's like, no, I'm good. Summon the snake.
We figured out how to counter Obito's Kamui in a very short amount of time. With the Mangekyo Sharingan, Sasuke has abilities of Amaterasu, Kagutsuchi, and Susanoo. These abilities help give Sasuke a boost to his overall stats such as power, speed, and durability, as well as some other things which we will get to in a minute. In a general sense, Sasuke clearly has a higher capacity than Tobirama, and you can argue his arsenal is superior, but while that might be true, that's not all it takes to win a battle. Before we get into any specifics, I wanted to go over general showings based off things like chakra, narrative, talent, and any lore. In terms of what Sasuke has, he tends to have a consistent power dynamic with Naruto, starting from their encounter at the end of the summit and beyond. The explanation of the history between the Senju and Uchiha clan that Obito gives Naruto, with the conclusion that Naruto and Sasuke are just the same as Ashura and Indra, and Madara and Hashirama. Although Obito isn't the most truthful person, most of his story is further corroborated by Hagoromo, with the added detail of a reincarnation cycle that would help push this idea that Naruto and Sasuke have officially become rivals by the end of the summit. This is supported by the idea that base Naruto and Sasuke clash, and Naruto confirming that they would kill each other if they fought again after looking into Sasuke's. This then leads to them both looking for power-ups that would help them become stronger with their EMS and KCM forms. This is further supported by the relativity between Naruto and Sasuke's bases again when they meet up in the war, and even when they go into EMS and KCM forms, helping support the narrative that these are relative power-ups. However, Sasuke is implied to be inferior to Kurama mode Naruto at this point in time.
Okay.
Sasuke doesn't take too long to catch up to him, as shown by the end of the Jubito fight, where he's able to make a perfect Susanoo and fight alongside Kurama Sage mode Naruto. Characters being shown to fight alongside each other is a common battle shonen trope to display relativity.
Yeah, I like to show that they're really close to each other.
Being their progress and their journeys and their powers. This is highlighted in the scene of Sakura.
It's one of those, they gotta keep them going up and up, because then the only way they can prove who's the strongest is that they eventually fight each other. Ooh, rivalry.
Sasuke should be on the level of 5 Kage Summit Sage Mode Naruto, early War Arc KCM, and Kurama Sage Mode Naruto in his respective forms. Naruto at his peak before meeting Hagoromo is even compared to Hashirama in just chakra amount. There's a couple other things that help support the notion that Naruto and Sasuke are close, but not yet on the level of Hashirama and Madara. There are some statements from Tobirama saying Sasuke has Madara's level of potential, and Orochimaru saying he'll one day surpass Madara, and Sasuke still has room to grow. This is even further supported in chapter 674, where Madara says that Sasuke's Sharingan and his are just alike, and suggests that Sasuke has even more potential than Obito did, and would have been a better pick if he was just born earlier and brainwashed Uchiha. Although this
time is an enemy.
Form of Obito with the Rinnegan and above, EMS Sasuke at his peak, even being above the Obito that attacked the village and forced Minato to use an advanced flying rising technique to defeat him, will lend credence to him being superior to a live Tobirama, who should consistently be below Minato and vastly below Hashirama and Madara. To go over Tobirama's more general scaling, the first misconception to take note of would be Izuna Uchiha. Izuna Uchiha is heavily implied to be on the level of MS Madara, with the databook claiming he's next to Madara in ability. Some may use this to say that Madara with his MS should be at least Sasuke level in scaling Tobirama.
Was it his brother or?
The problem with this is that Izuna's main competition is portrayed to be Tobirama, with the databook calling them equals. To then scale this to Sasuke, who doesn't always grow by fighting an equal opponent or opponents would be fallacious.
Yeah, it's always like the anger, the rage.
MS Sasuke just went through more trials than Izuna. We also didn't even see a Susanoo, and even if it would be very reasonable for him to have one, you then have to ask how much did he advance it. At best, defeating Izuna Uchiha would make Tobirama casually above all Uchiha who are non-Mangekyo Sharingan users, which doesn't matter here. It can be argued that the Part 1 Konoha Crush battle does display base Hashirama and Tobirama being comparable in terms of taijutsu power, which would be fine. Hashirama is shown to be clearly above Tobirama, but this can likely be due to his healing, his wood style,
his wood style healing is just ridiculous, isn't it?
The flex on Tobirama to make him calm down. Speaking of Tobirama being calmed down, that chakra flex feat against Sasuke should be something to discuss for the topic.
Oof.
Although Sasuke has a clear work of concern on his face and a sweat mark, he doesn't even instantly activate his Sharingan in response to this threat. Tobirama was,
That's
however,
true.
only lifting a singular finger, so this scene isn't likely portraying any dynamic between who would win in a battle between the two, just the general idea of a threat. The last thing about Tobirama is his narrative of being another fast guy just like the 4th Hokage and the Raikage. As mentioned before, his relative showings in Taijutsu to base Hashirama and proficiency of the Flying Raijin would highly suggest that Tobirama is super fast. Madara even claims that he once boasted the fastest speed of any shinobi, which is a statement that causes quite a debate at times. While some may say that Madara is referring to a post-Hashirama and Madara shinobi world, this isn't the most likely interpretation. Madara in the statement is drawing a contrast between the past and present, with the main differences being the Edo Tensei state of Hashirama and Tobirama, while Madara had gotten stronger. The speed of Tobirama's past being brought up is likely in reference to the fact that Madara bodies Tobirama using Raj, which would have likely required him to outspeed the second Hokage. Using the most consistent interpretation of this statement along with other supporting showings, Tobirama should be faster than EMS Madara and Sage 1 Hashirama.
Right.
So by going over more general and narrative showings, EMS Sasuke at his peak should beat Tobirama pretty soundly, but Tobirama should be faster in all of his forms. And that's if you take the Madara statement to be interpreted.
Yeah, if you take it that way.
You could also interpret this Madara statement to be that Tobirama was the fastest at some point in time of any shinobi, not necessarily the point in time when him and Hashirama were at their strongest, considering
But there was a
Madara
moment where
left the village for a year. He was training and getting stronger in order to fight Hashirama again, and he hadn't seen Tobirama in a year at that point. The next important thing to talk about is stamina. The main reason is basically to say the obvious and point out that any external sources to resupply himself, MS Sasuke gets outlasted and beat.
Yeah, Tobirama's stamina is incredible.
With high levels of chakra, alongside the ability to control his chakra and teleport, would basically give MS Sasuke a no-win situation here simply due to this. Tobirama being quite familiar with the Uchiha and their abilities.
Oh yeah, he's well aware what they can do.
He'd be aware from the experience that he could win a battle against Sasuke by simply outlasting him.
Yeah.
So from here, we'll be focusing on Sasuke mainly from his fight with Kabuto alongside Itachi. Going over the more specific stats of the characters, it has to also be called out that Tobirama is one of the characters who has very little AP or durability showings. In terms of his taijutsu, if you want to say he's base Hashirama and Edo Madara level, this would mean his durability is above the likes of the 4th Raikage's AP, going off the fact that Madara was able to tank his punch. Tobirama's AP should also not be too far from this if he is comparable to base Hashirama, who was shown to be able to clash with Edo Madara. Going off of the Part 1 Hiruzen vs Orochimaru battle, you could also argue Tobirama is physically above old Hiruzen, who can match the level of the Sannin. Although this is all nice, it clearly doesn't stack up to the Kabuto fight Sasuke, who has reached above Sannin level power with just his MS. Except he doesn't tire out so easily anymore. Even if you were to bring up things like Tobirama forcing one-eyed Sage Madara to use the Susanoo to block his water needles, it's a sneak attack that Sasuke would likely anticipate due to his high analytical ability.
Yeah.
We also don't know
He's a
much
smart boy.
about Madara's durability, except that it should be somewhere above the previous showings, which doesn't change the conclusion of this battle. Sasuke's speed should be comparable to Casey and Naruto around this time, using the 4th Raikage, who's stated to have speed not inferior to Minato. Naruto's ability to perceive this character's top speed and activating the body flicker before getting touched should be something Sasuke should be capable of, if not better. Sasuke's ability of insight has been praised by even Orochimaru as a child, so it's not crazy to say that Sasuke with his EMS should be capable of doing something like Naruto did and reacting with a dojutsu. This wouldn't necessarily scale Sasuke to A and Minato's full speed, as A gives Naruto a warning before coming at him in a linear fashion, making it much easier for him to react to. Regardless, this will show Sasuke's perception and reaction speed should be able to keep up with Tobirama to a level. Unless you think Tobirama is just much faster than Minato, which is just funny. The best you could try to argue for Tobirama here is outlasting his opponent, but considering Sasuke having the EMS, this is probably just not going to be the case.
No.
Sasuke also has abilities to deal with Tobirama's speed, such as guarding himself with the Susanoo.
Yeah, he's got freaking shields now.
all over the battlefield. Even if you can argue he can't tag Tobirama via normal means, in terms of Sasuke's forms, versus alive Tobirama, Tobirama seems to only be above MS Sasuke due to stamina issues. Now, if you notice one thing that's been put off for most of this video, it was Edo Tobirama with his tandem explosive tags.
Yeah.
This jutsu was used for the purpose of attacking Jubito, despite Hashirama claiming that he's stronger than him. Considering Obito has even used a true secret orb shield to block this jutsu, any form of Sasuke is not looking too good against this jutsu.
No. But it's only designed for Edo Tensei, and he's gonna die if he uses it.
Infinitely regenerating stamina and immortality, which just kind of makes this fight a little too easy for Tobirama, with him getting a very easy win condition. Even without this jutsu, Sasuke being able to defeat an Edo is very questionable.
Yeah.
With his possible best option being to constantly burn somebody with the
Amaterasu and just hope that everything's gone.
Burning in a hole or something like that. But that's gonna wrap up the video. Just for a quick conclusion, so everyone knows, any form of MS Sasuke is probably going to lose to Tobirama, whether that be Edo or alive. EMS Sasuke is likely going to beat alive Tobirama, and then if EMS Sasuke fights Edo Tobirama, he's likely going to get beaten due to his inability to seal him. And Tobirama's tandem explosive tags. But that's going to wrap up the video. If you like the video,
so pretty much, like I said at the start,
consider subscribing as well. And besides that, have a nice day.
Yeah, it's like one of those, and it's like Tobirama, Hashirama were like legendary. So it only gets to like right at the end of Naruto where like they are capable of, Sasuke and Naruto are capable of like putting up a decent fight. But yeah, Edo Tensei, with that ability that he's got, with just explosion upon explosion upon explosion, Megumin's dream from Konosuba. Yeah, like that. Yeah, Sasuke not got no chance against that. So yeah, cool. Anyway, thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video I upload, links in the description of the Patreon page. $1 a month is all I ask to help support the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you guys very much for that, and thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos, and I'll see you guys, all you guys, next time.